I'm really frustrated. I'm angry. Is this working or not? This better be working. I pay $35 a month for StreamYard to work, and I'm on their customer service, and they're like, "Can you send me a screenshot?" No, figure it out. My Wi-Fi works. I restarted that. My computer works. I restarted that. They're like, "Oh, could you?" No. This is the service you provide. Make it work. Ooh, I'm angry, man. I'm over here acting like I did something wrong. I'm just going to hang up on this lady. Go away. Say, is that on Chrome? Is that Chrome's fault? Out of here. How are you going to charge someone $35 a month for something that doesn't even do what it's supposed to do? All right, I'm done complaining. I needed to whine for a second. I needed to pull a Mike McGlinchey and get all my grievances out one after another, a laundry list of grievances. So now that I've done my Mike McGlinchey impression, let's talk football. All right. That was hard. It took me like a half an hour to get stupid technology to work. All right. Jordan Willis. The Niners traded for Jordan Willis. I'm sure your first reaction was, who the hell is Jordan Willis? Jordan Willis. I know who Jordan Willis is because I do mock drafts every year. And the way that I basically scout players is I need someone in the third round. I need a pass rusher because the Niners. So who's available in the third round? Jordan Willis was one of those guys. Played well in college, but was a Big 12 guy. It's like not really college football. It's like high school football, kind of, sort of. Also great at the combine. 6'5", 255, ran a 4.53. Almost as fast as me. He's almost as physically impressive as me. So that's good. They called me up and said, "Grant, you want to rush the quarterback this week?" I was like, nah, not really. I'm just going to be. So yeah, Jordan Willis, athletic, a big disappointment. Good in college, good at the combine, 3 sacks in 4 seasons. So what do you do with a guy like that? You send him to Chris Kosarek, the pass rush whisperer, right? If he doesn't work out with Chris Kosarek, it ain't going to work out for you, period. We've seen the Niners do this all offseason. Deion Jordan, kind of the same kind of guy. Good athlete, big bust, hasn't done anything in the NFL. Send him to Chris Kosarek. Let's see if he's got something left. So I see what the Niners are going for. They need a pass rusher. This guy kind of replaces what Emmanuel Ogbah might have been if he hadn't gotten hurt immediately after the Niners got him. And the Niners only really they didn't give up a draft pick. They swapped picks. They gave up a 6th, got a 7th in return. So they moved down in the draft to get a guy who's a good athlete, but not a good football player, and say, well, it's a need. We're desperate. He's the best we can get. Let's see what our superstar defensive line coach can do with this kid, Jordan Willis. That makes sense. The only thing I would say is that they better be right. I mean, Chris Kosarek better be as good as we think he is, because if the Niners, they can't afford to move down from any of their draft spots. They should be moving up in the draft. They should be getting more draft picks. They can't keep leveraging their future, mortgaging their future for now. It is encouraging that the Niners feel that beating the Rams and moving to 3-3 puts them back in the hunt, and now they can make moves to add to their team as opposed to sell. They're in buy mode. That's a good thing. But again, like, I don't. It just doesn't it kind of feel like a weak move to you? It's like he's not good. He was basically worth about as much as like Dante Pettis or Solomon Thomas is worth. So you're buying very low and hoping that Chris Kosarek can make something out of nothing. Couldn't you have like traded for Aldon Smith or someone who's good? Was there anyone else out there that you could have traded? Like if you are in the market to give up picks and move down and give up assets, like get someone worthwhile, or sign Clay Matthews, who's available and good, as opposed to Jordan Willis, who's not good. So yeah, it just seems like kind of a weak move. Like, hey, let's do something and, hope it works out. But I don't know. Jordan Willis, again, runs a 4.53. I run a 4.51, or I did when I was 18. Now I'm 32. So I haven't run a 4.51 in 14 years, but I'm sticking by that time. People who have been watching me or reading me since I started in 2011 will remember that I wrote off Luke Kuechly because he didn't run as fast as me. I really wrote, yeah, I'm faster than Luke. I'm not really impressed by his athleticism. So I never really got on the Luke Kuechly bandwagon. That's a true story. I've come a long way since then. But I was just not impressed with Luke Kuechly. I'm like, you're going to have to get in that 4-4 territory for me to really like you. You know what I'm saying? So I whiffed on that one. Oh, yeah, okay. Jordan Willis, understandable move, not exciting, kind of weak. Go get Clay Matthews or Alden Smith, you cowards. What is this? What is Jordan Willis really going to do? Going to take snaps away from who? Is he better than Deion Jordan? Is that the deal? I don't even think he's better than Deion Jordan. So I don't even know why we're talking about him. Let's move on. Who I think matters more than Jordan Willis, and who I think matters a lot all of a sudden, is JaMycal Hasty. I think he deserves 5 minutes on his own. Because I was talking on Monday with Vish Kumaran, about who is the most important player in the Niners offense. And he made a case for Deebo Samuel. I made a case for Raheem Mostert. Most people would say George Kittle, but I firmly believe it's Mostert. It's a run-first team. Deebo Samuel adds to that. He'll get 2, 3, 4 carries a game, and they're explosive carries, but not 17. Raheem Mostert is the guy who can carry this offense when healthy. He can run between the tackles. He's shown that this year. He's bigger and tougher than he used to be. He does not get knocked backward. He gets yards after contact. He also has the speed, and more than enough speed to get to the edge, and that's where he's best. So he's until Hasty has arrived, Mostert was the only guy who could run between the tackles and outside the tackles. McKinnon doesn't have the juice to get outside the tackles like he used to. He is a shotgun between the tackles runner. And he's a decent one, plus a good running back. Then you got a good receiver. Then you got Tevin Coleman, same. Shotgun between the numbers, that's what he's best at. I mean, between the tackles, that's what he's best at. Decent receiver. Then Jeff Wilson Jr., again, best between the tackles, the least flashy of those three, but arguably the best receiver. He might even be a better receiver than Jerick McKinnon, or right there. So those two are similar. But what I saw from Hasty in his 9, carries, whatever, how many snaps he got, was a guy who definitely has the juice to get to the outside, definitely has the speed and acceleration to get to the outside, and also runs very hard, runs violently, much more violently than you would expect a 5'8", 205-pound runner to run with between the tackles. I mean, when I was looking at him, I was thinking, God, this guy reminds me of Alexander Madison, the backup running back for the Vikings, who I think is the best backup running back in the league. He could start for the Niners right now. But that guy's 5'10", 220. He runs extremely hard. He's got a little bit of beast mode in him. I was watching Hasty be like, that's like Madison, except he's 2 inches shorter and 15 pounds lighter. But he still looks the same, moves the same, has the same level of violence and velocity. I love JaMycal Hasty. So what I think is, while Mostert's out, Hasty should be the starting running back, the starter. Well, I guess it doesn't really matter who starts, but he should get the most touches per game. He needs more carries than McKinnon, and he needs more carries than Jeff Wilson Jr. Use Jeff Wilson Jr. as a short yardage back and a receiver. Use Jerick McKinnon on third down. But on first and second down, first and 10, second and 6, those normal situations, put Hasty on the field. I've seen enough. He's the best. He gives the offense the toughness to run between the tackles and the speed to create big plays. He's a lot like Mostert. In fact, he kind of reminds me of, not as fast as Mostert, he reminds me of Devontae Freeman back when Freeman was good. 5 years ago. Freeman 5 years ago. How about that? Freeman was a 4th-round pick, if I'm correct. 4th-round pick. Hasty was a undrafted free agent. He's more explosive than Jeff Wilson Jr. He's more explosive right now than Jerick McKinnon. McKinnon's still good. I admire how hard he runs. But he's averaged less than 4 yards a carry for his career for a reason, and now he lacks whatever juice he used to have. Hard runner, tough guy, good athlete, not explosive. Hasty's explosive. And the thing about running back is it's one of these positions where you don't need a lot of experience. Wide receivers need time. Look at Ayuk. hell of an athlete, first-round pick, kind of struggling. JaMychal Hasty, not as athletic, not drafted, hit the ground running. Boom, ready to go. Because it's like either you make guys miss or you don't. It's not that complicated. You follow your track, you follow your blockers, you have little sprint spots that you're aiming for, and then you make one cut and you go. You either can do it or you can't. And really, for running backs, it's like the less experience, the better almost. Like the less tread on your tires, the better. Every carry you get, you're taking 4 or 5 hits, and it wears on you. Look at Ezekiel Elliott. He's not the running back he was 4 years ago. He's been worn into the ground. Hasty's fresh now. McKinnon is not. Give it to the fresh kid. He's ready. He's good. I want to see him. He doesn't have to be the starting running back. I make it very clear what the Niners have to do. I told them they had to be under center first play running the ball against the Rams. They don't have to start Hasty, but he better have 10 carries. I don't want to see Jerick McKinnon 13 carries for 40 yards, JaMychal Hasty 4 carries for 40 yards. If McKinnon ain't doing well, get him the hell out of there. And one thing that I admire about Kyle Shanahan, at least what he did last week, was he got McKinnon the hell out of there. It was clear when Mostert went down and McKinnon got the first shot to replace him that running game wasn't going to go anywhere. And they went off the field. Someone tweeted at me when I was in the press box, what do the Niners do to get some explosion in their offense? I immediately texted, put Hasty on the field. Shanahan, who reads all my tweets and all that stuff, checked his phone quickly, apparently, and went back, put Hasty on the field, kept him in the game the rest of the game. So he sees what I see. They need a spark. They need some juice. Hasty gives it to him. Something to look for. Let's get to this matchup with the Patriots because I find it fascinating. And what I do every week is I have a secret source that I don't talk about. Former coach, and we talk through every matchup every week. I talked to the former coach this morning about the Patriots. He broke it all down. So I'm going to go through my advanced scouting report as helped by the anonymous former coach, and I'll give you a little projection of what's happening here. You have to understand, a lot's at stake for the Niners. This is a must-win game for the Niners. They improved to 3-3. They would have been dead if they lost last week, but they still have to win this one because they're pretty much guaranteed to lose the next one. The second road game after traveling across the country, you go up to Seattle to play a division rival. That's tough. They might beat the Seahawks. They probably won't. If they win this one and lose next week, they're 4-4. They're cool. They got to win this one. The problem is the Patriots are even more desperate. The Patriots are 2-3, and they've lost their last 2 games. And they don't lose 3 in a row under Bill Belichick. I don't know if they've ever lost 3 in a row under Bill Belichick. Maybe not. Not in a long time. So they're arguably a better coach team than the Niners, Bill Belichick. They're more desperate than the Niners. They're at home, and they present problems for the Niners. Let's talk first what Belichick's going to do on offense. I mean, his defense is all set up to take away your 2 strengths. The Niners' 2 strengths are running the ball and throwing to Kittle. So we know what Belichick's going to do. He's going to bring out that front that he uses against McVay and Shanahan and those guys, the 6-1 front. 6 guys on the line, 1 linebacker. And what the idea is, you take away the inside runs with those 4 defensive linemen, and you take away the outside runs, the jet sweeps, the end arounds, the reverses, with the 2 overhang linebackers, those 6 guys on the line. You know, it's interesting. All the stuff that Kyle Shanahan did to beat the Rams was basically Sean McVay's stuff. All those end arounds and jet sweeps. And Sean McVay's defensive coordinator couldn't adjust and figure out how to stop it. It's like, dude, that's your guy's stuff. Anyway, Belichick knows how to stop that stuff. And what he's going to do is he's going to take away the Niners run game to the best of his ability. He's going to play that 6-1 front. And all that stuff that worked against the Rams, all those runs, all those pop passes, the shovel passes, not going to work against the Patriots. That stuff's not going to work. And then Kittle, they're going to double team him too. They're going to be 6 across the front, double coverage on Kittle, 1 safety, high and single coverage across the board, man-to-man coverage. That's what the Niners are facing, and it's what they faced 2 weeks ago when they played the Dolphins, and it crushed them. Now, they've seen it before, and they're prepared. So what do the Niners need to do to combat this defense? And I'm going to get into that real quick and for a while, actually, and then I'm going to go to the other side of the ball. So you can't force the ball to Kittle. You can't force the run game against that 6-1 front. You got to take what the defense is giving you, and they're giving you a lot. They're basically giving you whatever you want except for Kittle in the run game. So I think what's imperative against the Patriots is to spread the ball. Not what I think. Anonymous coach. He explained this to me on the phone. What's imperative against the Patriots is you got to spread the ball around. Like in the 80s, they wouldn't, when he was the defensive coordinator for the Giants and he was going up against Bill Walsh and the Niners, his whole thing was, I'm not going to let Jerry Rice and John Taylor beat me. You're going to have to spend the day giving the ball to Tom Rathman, Roger Craig, and Brent Jones. That's how it's got to be. So that's the same thing that's going to happen today. They're not going to let JaMychal Hasty and George Kittle beat him. You're going to have to spend the day giving the ball to Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, and your tight ends and your fullbacks. The thing is, I don't know that the Niners wide receivers have a matchup advantage against the Patriots corners. Just because it's one-on-one with no safety help, is Brandon Ayuk going to win one-on-one against the Patriots corner? Is Deebo Samuel going to win one-on-one against the Patriots corner? I don't know. I'm not so sure about that. To me, where the Niners have matchup advantages in this game is against the Patriots linebackers and safeties. So I'm going to go one by one. Players the Niners need to get more involved in this game and in general. Starting with Kyle Juszczyk. To me, Kyle Juszczyk is a playmaker and a big play threat and criminally underutilized. They call him an offensive weapon. They brought him in and said, we're paying him a lot of money, but he's not just to be a blocker. Guy can do everything. And they were right. Hell of a runner, hell of a receiver. He can run option routes, choice routes, Texas routes, wheel routes, deep routes. I mean, screens. He can do it all. So why does he only get 1 touch a game, 2 touches a game? I think he needs to be getting 5 touches a game, 6 touches a game. He's a big play threat, and defenses continuously forget about him. Kyle Juszczyk. So in this game, when you're going up against Bill Belichick, and you know Kittle's going to you can't target Kittle 13 times in this game. Belichick won't allow it. If you do that, you lose. So you'll be able to target Kittle 6 times. You'll pick your spots. You'll get up to him sometimes. I mean, you can't take Kittle away completely, but you got to spread the ball around. Who are those extra 7 targets going to? Well, it's not just going to go to one person, but some of them can go to Kyle Juszczyk. I would like to see 2 runs for Kyle Juszczyk, 4 catches for Kyle Juszczyk. Seriously, he's a good runner. Inside traps, give him the ball from the up back position. Why not? Screens to Juszczyk. He keeps getting wide open on the wheel route on that, fullback leak play. If only the quarterbacks could hit him. So that's for starters. Kyle Juszczyk. He can't be just a blocker. You're paying him too much. Your receivers are too inexperienced. They don't have a matchup advantage, and your quarterback doesn't like throwing outside the numbers or down the field anyway. He wants to throw as many short passes over the middle as possible. He's got the best fullback in the league. Call his number. Kyle Juszczyk. Kyle freaking Juszczyk. And again, if the Niners would just do the right thing and give me my nickel per month salary so I could be the coordinator of common sense, I would get in Kyle Shanahan's face in his meeting and be like, bro, what's up with your offensive weapon? That's what you call him. Call his number. You're leaving good plays on the field by not getting the ball to Kyle Juszczyk. He scored a touchdown in the Super Bowl. I just feel like every time he gets the ball, he does something good. Up his workload. He's in his prime. He should be the leader of the offense. No one does their job better than Kyle Juszczyk. I mean, George Kittle may. But Juszczyk is almost as good at being a fullback as Kittle is at being a tight end. And Juszczyk's older. He comes from the Ravens. He has leadership skills. And if they would just empower him by giving him the ball more and making him a more central part of the offense, he could be that leader that they need. I've heard him talk. He's a terrific leader. Now make him a player. Another player the Niners need to get involved by spreading the ball around. Ross Dwelley. Where in the world is Ross Dwelley? The dude is Carmen Sandiego, man. You got to be a super sleuth to find Ross Dwelly in the Niner game because he ain't out there. And I don't get it. It's like Kittle was hurt. Jordan Reed got hurt. Ross Dwelly finally gets an opportunity to get some targets and kills it against the Giants. Then never gets another target ever again and gets like one snap a game and it's blocking a defensive end. It's like, that's going to make him look terrible. It's not his game. Why don't you retarget? Why don't you target Ross Dwelly anymore? Every time the Niners target Ross Dwelly, he makes a play. You know the Patriots are going to put their weakest linebacker on Dwelly to cover. They're going to be totally focused on Kittle and the run game. Dwelly's going to be wide open, throwing the ball. Between Dwelly and Kyle Juszczyk, the Niners have two options over the middle they should be getting the ball to. Why are you ever throwing to Trent Taylor? Ross Dwelly is such a better receiver than Trent Taylor. Never play Trent Taylor ever again. Sit him down. Bring out Ross Dwelly. Give him the ball. That's two guys right there that are not even on the map that should be integral parts of the offense this week. Not every week, but when you're going against Bill Belichick and you know he's going to take away certain things, you got to be careful. And you got to be mindful. Okay, well, who's he not stressing about? Who's he not worried is going to beat him? Ross Dwelly, Kyle Juszczyk. And the thing about those two guys is they can beat you. Ross Dwelly is a monster in the red zone. He's a monster, period, as a receiver. Juszczyk too. Let those two win the game for you. I mean, Belichick's asking them to. Let them win the game for you. I'm not done. I got more. I mean, I said the Niners should start JaMychal Hasty. Throw the ball to Jeff Wilson Jr., please. Please. Because Hasty's shifty. Jerick McKinnon is also shifty, but I feel like Wilson's the best receiver out of the backfield. His route running is unbelievable. Unbelievable. He's bigger than the other two running backs. He has a bigger frame. He catches the ball with his hands and is incredibly sure-handed. Throw the ball to Jeff Wilson Jr. He's a big play guy. These three guys, Juszczyk, Ross Dwelly, and Jeff Wilson Jr., get no love. No love. They are just constantly like under the radar. I don't even mention them in the post-game grades. Like I forget about Kyle Juszczyk when I do running back stuff. But they're all big play people. I mean, Jeff Wilson Jr. in the Super Bowl, that catch he made was big time. And every time he gets an opportunity in the NFL, especially catching the ball, look at him against the Giants. He goes crazy. You know, to me, the way the Niners beat the Jaguars in 2017 when Jimmy Garoppolo had a great game was spreading the ball around. You don't go after whoever Jalen Ramsey is covering. Don't play in to the strengths of the opposing defense. Spread the ball around. You want to take away this? Fine. We'll beat you any way we need to. So again, what the Niners did on offense against the Rams is not applicable in this game. If they come into this game with the same game plan, they're going to lose. And it was the right game plan against the Rams. It was 100% the right game plan against the Rams. It's not going to work this week. Absolutely won't work this week. If the Niners try to establish the run right off, they're going to lose. If the Niners try to go to Kittle right off, they're going to lose. Usually I'm in favor of establish your two strengths right off. But Belichick wants to take away your two strengths right off, and he can do it. You can take away the run game purely by alignment. And you can take away Kittle just by playing double coverage. You're leaving yourself vulnerable. He is to the rest of the offense. Make him pay. Make him pay. Show him that Juszczyk is good. Show him that Dwelly's good. Show him that Wilson's good. I don't know if Ayuk and Debo can win against those wide receivers, those corners, but give them a shot. Okay. So that's the first thing the Niners have to do. And you know what? It's going to be tough. Even if they do everything right, how many points are they going to score? 20, 23, 24, something like that. Okay. So to win this game, the Niners defense is going to have to be just flat out lights out. And the thing is, they've been pretty good. Let's see. The Niners defense this year has been lights out with the exception of one quarter week one against the Cardinals where everything went to hell and 2 quarters against the Dolphins with a practice squad corner on the field. Other than that, the Niners defense has been solid as hell. That being said, They're going up against Cam Newton this week. Cam Newton is awfully similar to Carson Wentz, who beat the Niners. And we know the Niners defense, as solid as it is, has a kryptonite, and it's mobile quarterbacks. It's not that the yards that Cam Newton's going to run for necessarily, but it's the fact that he can extend plays, scramble around, and turn structured football into chaos football, recess football, playground football, ad-lib football, that kind of stuff. The Niners defense is built to stop structured football. Once it turns into ad-lib football, playground football, and the play goes 4, 5, 6 seconds, sometimes they have trouble covering that long. Well, most defenses do. Now, with Jason Verrett and Emmanuel Mosley, this should be a little bit better. But still, if the Niners allow Cam Newton to run for a bunch of first downs and extend plays and throw and basically turn the game into him running and him improving, they're going to lose. And he could do it. The Niners have lost 2 games this year because they couldn't stop just that. So this is serious. The thing about Cam Newton, too, is he's different than Kyler Murray and Carson Wentz. Those guys run a little bit. Cam Newton runs a whole lot of bit. You go back and watch week 1, the dominant feature of their offense was him running. No one else. He was their lead runner. They're a run-first team, and he's their lead dog. He's their featured runner. You got to know that. You got to be prepared for every run in the book to be run from their quarterback. Quarterback power, quarterback counter, quarterback lead, all that stuff. So it's a lot like the Ravens offense. The Niners have to have a whole new defensive scheme. The wide nine is not going to be good enough. They got to sell out to stop the run. Remember what they did against the Ravens last year? 5 across the front. That's what they kind of got to do. Assignment football, not just playing the pass. What the Niners need to do, if they can keep Cam Newton in the pocket and turn this game into a pocket passing contest between Cam Newton and Jimmy Garoppolo, the Niners are going to win, because Cam Newton is a dynamic athlete, and I love the way he extends plays, and he's a modern quarterback, but the dude is just inaccurate, period. He is inaccurate. I mean, you can try to pump up his completion percentage by giving him checkdowns and stuff, but the dude just ain't accurate. No matter what he's throwing, he's not going to hit it in stride. He's scattershot, even if he completes the throw. So you lose if you let him be an athlete and an improver. If you make him be a quarterback, you win. That is the Niners' job. Spread the ball out on offense. Make Cam Newton be a quarterback from the pocket. Eric Armstead, talking to you. Don't you dare try to sack Cam Newton this week. You keep him in the pocket, and if he comes to you, then you get the sack. If you go to him, he breaks out, stiff arms you, you fall down, you dive, you try to look like you gave a good effort. Cam Newton runs around, big play, drive extended, your fault. Real simple what the Niners defense has to do. They got to spy Cam Newton, contain him in the pocket, double cover Julian Edelman on 3rd down. That's the only receiver they got who's worth anything. I like N'Keal Harry, but Cam Newton doesn't have the accuracy to get the ball to him down the field. It's a dink and dunk offense. It's a run-first offense. Play 5 across the front. Get rid of that wide 9 this week. Spy Cam Newton. Contain him with your defensive ends. Don't give him any easy rushing lanes. Make him play quarterback. That's it. Robert Saleh, talking to you. You're my boy. You're my dog. Make him play quarterback. Don't let him beat you with his legs. You know what I mean. You're too good. You're too smart. Your players are too good. Keep him in that pocket. Make him go throw for throw with Jimmy. He can't. He's a better player than Jimmy Garoppolo, maybe, but not a better passer than Jimmy Garoppolo. You can structure this in a way that you force Cam to pass. Just like you should have forced Carson Wentz to pass. I don't like his receivers. You take away, you play Julian Edelman short and long, bracket, in and out, over the top, one guy playing, inside leverage in his face, another guy over the top. Take him away, make Cam Newton throw to other people. Make Cam Newton be a quarterback who can't throw to Edelman every time. You win. That's it. That's the game plan. I think it's kind of interesting. I mean, the coach I talked to isn't a Niner fan, not a Niner guy, but definitely feels the Niners should win this game in New England on the road against a great coaching staff and a desperate team if they do what I just laid out, which is interesting because I think some of you guys might not be as as confident in your team as this coach is. But real quick, what some things that the Niners also would have to pull off to win this game. Trent Williams and Mike McGlinchey have to continue to play. They have to keep playing better. If they go back to stinking, they're screwed. The Niners can't win any games. Mike McGlinchey did a lot of talking this week about how he was unfairly criticized and he bounced back. And after the game, he tweeted, "I'm still here." All right, bud. This week you're going against Chase Winovich. You better not give up any sacks. We're watching you. And you are pretty much one of the few people who can lose this game for the 49ers. Also, the fact that they got to start center Hronis Grasu. My Hronis is starting at center. That's scary. So you're down to your third string center. Let's say my Hronis gets hurt or starts playing poorly. What do you do next? What in the world do you do next? You move Brunskill over to center to take over for my Hronis. Okay, so Hronis is out. Brunskill moves over to center. Who played guard? Tom Compton? Oh, I'm sorry. I don't think the Niners can beat the Patriots with Tom Compton on the field. So really, a whole hell of a lot depends on my Hronis Grasu playing well, making it through the game. If he doesn't, the Niners got no shot. So it's cool that they traded for an edge rusher today, but damn, couldn't you have gotten a center who isn't my Hronis? I mean, God. So yeah, I mean, I'm making the case, but it all comes down to my Hronis. Oh, my little bitty one, bitty one. Am I the only person who remembers that song? That was a good song. So what did I tell you today? That basically the Niners are going to win if they pass the ball to Dwelly. I really took up a half hour of your time. I had you guys come on at 3. There was a false start. You stuck with me. We started again at 3:30. You listen. You're like, Grant's going to have some real insight today. Grant, I feel it. And you listen. You wait. And you're like, yo, this guy just made me listen to get the ball to Dwelly. That's what we got to do this week. Hey, I'm unsubscribing. Hey, screw this guy. I'm unsubscribing. Hey, that's a fair response. That's a fair response. I really pulled the okie doke on you guys. You thought I was gonna. No, I'm serious though. The two white guys on offense, Juszczyk and Dwelly. I know they don't look athletic, but they're good. And I know they go under the radar because they look the way they look, but they're good. How about the two guys? The two pale-faced guys on offense. Let's not forget about them. They have something to offer too. Sorry to make it racial. I'm just saying. I mean, that's what we're all thinking, right? I'd say if Ross would just get a little bit of a tan, he might get the ball more. He's just shockingly pale, Ross. If you look at his calves, I don't think he wears socks. It's like, what happened? Do you not go outside? And he spends his off seasons in San Diego. Ross, as your agent and manager and brand strategist, you need a tan. They are holding your paleness against you. You look like you don't get any sun. I don't know what to say, but I think if you were to go to a tanning salon and just get the calves done, Shanahan would look at you in a different light, literally. Ross is not good? What are you talking about? Every time he gets a target, he catches the ball. Throwing the ball. What more did he have to do against the Giants to get additional targets? Especially when your wide receivers aren't doing well. Like Trent Taylor keeps getting 2 targets a game. Stop it. Stop. Trent Taylor sucks. Kyle, Trent Taylor sucks. Someone needs to tell you that Trent Taylor sucks. He sucks. That's the word. I'm sorry. I'm not. Trent Taylor sucks. He was good in 2017. I thought he was pretty good in 2017. He's gotten a bunch of injuries since then. He's not the player he used to be. Cut him. Shouldn't be on the team. It seems like he's on the team because he's Jimmy Garoppolo's friend and George Kittle's friend. Dwelly's better than him. Dante Pettis is better than him. Every week, there's something that I'm very passionate about. And if I make a big enough stink about it, the Niners listen. So this week it's stop playing Trent Taylor and all 5'7" of him. Start playing Ross Dwelley, all 6'5" of him, and give Taylor Dwelley's targets. Give some of Kittle's targets to Juszczyk and win. And then send me my check for a nickel. I mean, all of these ideas are not free. They're way too good. Are you guys, are there people in the comment section really saying that Trent Taylor is good? Like, what? When did that happen? I missed that. And real quick, Dante Pettis, man, I got to say something. I've spent hours ridiculing Dante Pettis on Periscope, and I want to say I'm not going to do that anymore. It's not fair. I feel like Kyle Shanahan does such a good job of protecting certain players. He always has CJ Beathard's back. You know, he always has Tevin Coleman's back or Jerick McKinnon's back. But for Dante Pettis, it's like it's pretty much understood. Hey, yo, you guys say what you want about him, man. I don't like him. Go for it. Open season on Dante Pettis. You have my blessing. What's that about, man? He had one bad offseason. He had a few bad games playing with Jimmy Garoppolo while Garoppolo was coming back from a torn ACL and wasn't playing so great himself. And now he's done. He gets no more opportunities, and you deactivate him so Kevin White, who has no future in the league, can come up and do this on the kick returns. That's excessive, man. I don't even like Dante Pettis, and I wouldn't do that to him. Like, why? You play Trent Taylor, but not Dante Pettis? Why? You gave Akello Witherspoon 8 million chances to get his job back. You were more than fair to Akello Witherspoon, but Dante Pettis has a rough month or two and he's dead to you? Did something happen behind closed? Did he say something to you? Because it seems to me that Dante Pettis, he's on the team to be ridiculed. That's his role. And then Jimmy Garoppolo a little bit too. Like, I fall into this trap. I always crush Jimmy. I'm so critical of him. And it's because the head coach is basically saying, hey, go for it. I'm not going to, hey, go for it. The thing Jim Harbaugh did, I always come back to Jim Harbaugh. The first thing he did when he came to the Niners was pump up Alex Smith and say, you know what? Fans and media have been going at this guy since they drafted him. Stop. I like him. He's a good quarterback. End of story. End of story. And who knew give him that kind of coaching? Look at Sean McVay. Sean McVay has a very similar quarterback to you. Jared Goff, Jimmy Garoppolo, kind of the same. I don't think Sean McVay is really thrilled to have to coach, to be married to Jared Goff. And I don't think you're that thrilled to be married to Jimmy Garoppolo. The difference is, you do all the thinking for Jimmy, and he's a one-read quarterback, and you need to be on point because he can't really go through his progressions or bail you out. But McVay's in the same position with Jared Goff. McVay's in Jared Goff's earpiece while Goff is at the line of scrimmage, reading the defense for him and being like, this is where you go until there's 15 seconds left on the play clock. Given what McVay privately thinks of Jared Goff, I'm thinking he never reveals it publicly. Publicly, it's always, Jared's great. I got to put him in better positions to succeed. I got to do a better job. Jared's the man. It's exactly what Harbaugh would say. What Shanahan says is throws were open. By no means was Jimmy perfect. He doesn't come out and just blast him the way Hugh Jackson would. But it's all implied. It's like, I'm not defending him. I'm saying that throws were there. And fans and media take the cue like, oh, well, let's go. Let's not criticize Kyle. Let's just dump on Jimmy. And the thing about Jimmy is he never defends himself. I dump on him every day for years, and he just takes it. He's like, whatever. I'm cool. I'm fine. I'm cool. Doesn't bother me. But I think deep down it's got to bother him. And especially when you know that your head coach is kind of inviting it, being like, well, I could say something, but I won't. So, Kyle, I would like to see you stick up for Jimmy and Dante Pettis. Put Pettis on the field. Take Trent Taylor off. All right? I don't ever want to see Trent Taylor again. He's out. Put Pettis back on the field. No more Kevin White. Play Ross Dwelley. Throw the ball to Juszczyk. Throw the ball to Jeff Wilson. Give me a nickel. Then we'll be even. Okay? Fair enough? All right. Last topic, and then I got to go. The Niners are 1-3 at home. Today, someone asked Kyle Shanahan during his press conference, has it been tough playing at home without the fans? Remember, they were going to open up the Levi's and have some fans, and Santa Clara said, no way, Jose, and the Niners are upset about that. Sorry. So Shanahan said, yeah, it's been really tough playing at home without the fans because the fans give them all this energy and they fed off the fans last year. And how do you expect them to be dominant at home? Blah, 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 blah. I don't want to hear it. The Niners are not the only team that has to play in front of a fanless field. That's the lamest excuse I've ever heard for the Niners starting 0-3 at home. It would have helped to have fans, but you're dealing with something that other teams are dealing with too. And you're going against another team that doesn't have home field advantage. You lost at home to the Eagles, the Cardinals, and Dolphins. It's not because the fans weren't there. It's because you guys weren't prepared for the season. You may have gotten it by now. Maybe it took you 5 weeks to get your stuff together, but it wasn't Jimmy and Gilroy's fault. It wasn't the Santa Clara City Council's fault. It wasn't COVID-19's fault. Own it that you guys didn't play well. I don't like, see, because last week they did such a good job of like owning it and be like, you know what? It was unacceptable that we lost to the Dolphins and we got to be better. And now they're back to like, well, we're coming back and it's hard and without the fans. Nah, man, I don't want to hear those excuses. Every team has excuses. So that was discouraging today to hear him talk about that. I mean, clearly the Niners are trying to put pressure on the NFL and Santa Clara to get them to get fans back in the stands. And if fans were to come back, it would be a boost for when they have their next home games. But I just don't want to hear that excuse ever again. It sounds so weak to me. The Niners, every team had unique circumstances this year, and some teams dealt with it better than others. The Niners dealt with it very poorly, but the season isn't over. They're back in it 3-3. If they follow the directions that I laid out, me and anonymous coach, they're going to win. They're going to win. Would they win 24-16? They'll win 23-17, 20-17 if they follow what I said. But sometimes it's hard to tell if they're going to follow what I said. Ask for a bottle of cab instead of a nickel. Yeah, a bottle of cab is worth a little bit more than a nickel. You are like the dad of the 49ers. I am. I'm like the dad of the 49ers. I'm gonna leave now. I'm gonna stop there. But I want you guys to think about what I said about Pettis and Garoppolo, because I have been the most critical person in the media of those two. And I almost feel bad about it. I almost feel like I let Shanahan get in my head and say, go for it. And Dante Pettis, I mean, he's still young. He could bounce back. What's the point of ridiculing Dante Pettis? And Kyle, shouldn't you have his back? I mean, his issue is mental. Can't you pump him up? Can't you find a way to give him the CJ Beathard treatment? I mean, Dante Pettis has earned more, showed more. If anyone deserves the CJ Beathard treatment, it's Dante. And also Jimmy, man. Like, I can't imagine what Jimmy's gone through. He gets traded to the Niners. He plays well. He gets a contract. And then everything he hears since then is, gee, he's not as good as we really thought. He's not as good. It's like, well, then why'd you trade for me? What have I done wrong? I've come here. I've been the face of the franchise. I never complain. I smile. I do charity. Why am I the problem? Just send me back to New England then, baby. Fine, if I'm not good enough. So I'm trying to make a pledge to be less critical of those two guys, just to spite Kyle Shanahan. Kyle, I'm bringing it to you because you deserve it. You're the head coach. You should be the human shield protecting the players on your team who need the protection, and it's Dante and Jimmy. Think about that. Pass the ball to Ross Dwelly right now, or we're going to have issues. Kyle. All right, guys, I'll see you tomorrow. You keep rocking and rolling.